Now we are going to commence with the third and final session of the workshop on marketing for startup founders. So I invite Akshay to introduce Ms. Surbhi Bhogawat, founder of Sweet Home Bakery. Over to you, Akshay.
So, hello everyone. So the speaker for session 3 is Ms. Surbhi Bhogawat. She is an accomplished quiller and a baker. Surbhi has completed her BCom from Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce and has an MBA. She is an extrovert who loves to bake and socialize. Surbhi started off her entrepreneurial journey as a student while pursuing her BCom. She began by teaching the art of quilling and then went on to set up the Quillers with her friends Sakshi and Yashaswini. They made cards, magnets, and decorative items and retailed them at pop-up shows and exhibitions. Now Surbhi has turned her love for baking into a venture called Sweet Home. Based in Ahmednagar, she does custom cakes, cupcakes, and desserts and continues her entrepreneurial journey in a new way. We welcome you, Surbhi ma'am.
Thank you, Akshay. I now pass on the session to Ms. Surbhi to share her thoughts and expression with the attendees. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Aryan and Akshay, for this wonderful introduction that you all gave for me. And good afternoon, everyone. Can we switch on my presentation, please? Akshay? Yes, thank you. So like Akshat said, I have a business, I have a bakery business. I started my own bakery at home. And can you see there are two more logos over there. One says Sweet Home Garden Restaurant and one says New Sweet Home. So these two are my father's restaurant. It's a family business of ours. They're pure veg restaurants in Ahmednagar. For those who don't know where Ahmednagar is, it's about 2 hours from, it's a small town near Pune. Can we move on to the next slide? Yes. So why Ahmednagar? Now, like I said, Ahmednagar is a small town. I did my, like Akshat introduced me, I was in Pune for my graduation. I did my BCom from Symbiosis and I had started a small business in Pune as well. But before my MBA, I took a year break and I came back to Nagar to stay with my family. And that's when I started baking from home. And, you know, I thought I can do something in this whole baking business as well. And that's why I thought, should I go back to Pune and start it there or should I stay in Ahmednagar? What are the pros and cons? So the first pro of Ahmednagar was that there was already an established family business of restaurants here. So our restaurant, our first restaurant is about 33 years old. And it's like, if I have to compare it, you can say it's the Vaishali of Ahmednagar, the Vaishali restaurant that's on FC Road, the famous Vaishali of Pune. Our Sweet Home restaurant is like the famous Vaishali restaurant of Pune in Ahmednagar. And that's why I was like, we already have a name, we already have a goodwill. So then I can sell my products in the restaurant itself because the restaurant already has a good footfall. I won't have to go out looking for customers. The customers are already entering the restaurant. So I can meet the customers there. So the restaurant was a very nice place, an established place for me to offer my products. The second thing was established brand name. Like I said, Sweet Home is a name which is 33 years old and it is very, very well known in Ahmednagar. Low cost. Again, I didn't have to set up a store. I did not have to set up a bakery because I had already set restaurant. So I could start a small display in the restaurant. So instead of say renting out a shop or buying a shop or doing the interiors, I did not have to get into all of that. All I had to do was buy a small display, clear up the area a little, make it look like a bakery, and at a very low cost, I could start my bakery display there. Available labor. Our restaurant has a staff of about 50 to 55 people currently working after COVID. And before that, we had about 60, 70 people. And the labor was already available. I had chefs, I had helpers, I had everybody. So all I had to do was train them a little for the baking side of the business. And I had them ready to use. Then introduction of cupcakes and theme cakes. I had to start by introducing cupcakes and theme cakes in Ahmednagar. While at the same time in Pune, people already knew what cupcakes and theme cakes are. And there already were about, for example, 100 other people doing it anyway. I was the only one in Nagar. That is, hence I had to introduce what a cupcake is, which I thought was a very big advantage for me because I had no competition. And theme cakes as well. So what are theme cakes? Theme cakes are, say, if you have a Cinderella theme party. So I have to decorate the cake, according to a Cinderella theme. So what Nagar was doing that time when I started 7 years ago was a plain chocolate cake, maybe in a round shape or a square shape or a star shape. There was no decoration as such on top of it. So I introduced these theme cakes in Nagar, and that is why I could make a name for myself because That time when people would say theme cake, they would only think about me, as I had the monopoly here. And the biggest, I had the first, yes, I had the first mover advantage in Nagar, like ma'am said. So that is another very big reason why I chose Nagar and I did not choose to come back to Pune, no matter how tempting Pune was for me. And home sweet home, of course. I get to live with my family. I get to live at home, eat home food. I don't have to live in a PG or a hostel or alone in my own in my own apartment and take care of my business as well as my house. So home sweet home is like the best thing that there can be, according to me. Next slide, please. So the difficulties that I faced in starting this business of mine. Like I said, baking was a hobby that I converted into a business. And when I was actually converting it, for a lot of difficulties, and of course every business, not just baking. So what I'm going to talk about here is my journey in baking, but I hope and I'm sure you all can apply it to your particular businesses, whatever you all are thinking of, or whatever ideas you all have. So the difficulties that I faced was, I would tell people, oh, here's my product, this is a cupcake. They would be like, what is a cupcake? So I had to start with explaining what a cupcake is. I would tell them it's a small cake, and they would still not understand till one of my staff members came and told me, Madam, unko Vati cake bolte. So people in Nagar know cupcake as Vati cakes. Vati as in katori in Marathi, and that's why they were called Vati cakes. So I had to explain to them what a cupcake is. And they were very fascinated by the idea, because whenever people think of cakes, they think about, like the big 1 pound cake or half kg or say 250 grams. They never think of a miniature sized cupcake, which, they can finish in a bite. So they were very fascinated by the idea. It was something new and the news spread like wildfire because the town was so small. Theme cakes are expensive was another difficulty that I faced, because if a regular cake was going at 400 rupees a pound, which is half kg, I had to sell a theme cake at least in the starting, I had to sell it at 500 rupees a kg. So even for 100 rupees, people would be like, oh, why would we pay extra? Is it really important? They will tell their kids or, whoever the cake is for, why do you want such a decorated cake when we can get a small, similar sized cake in a lesser price? So that was another thing that I had to sell to them, that why are you paying extra? Because, there's a big smile that your kid has on his face when he sees a Peppa Pig or something, on the cake. So I had to, yes, we do a question and answer session later. So please hold on to your questions towards the end of the session, please. All bakery products have eggs in them. That's another thing. So our restaurant in Nagar is a pure vegetarian restaurant. Nagar also has, not just Nagar, I think even meat eaters nowadays are shifting and becoming vegetarians. So people are trying to avoid eating eggs. People are trying to avoid eating meat. People want vegan. Veganism has really, come in right now. And that's why somehow people have this notion in their head that all cakes, everything has eggs in them. So I had to really educate them about, how the cakes that I'm making are eggless and you can eat them. And another reason where this our family business came in handy is because we have a name in vegetarian restaurants in the last 33 years. So they could trust me when I said the cakes are eggless. So that's again somewhere where I could use my goodwill, my family business's goodwill. Again, the attitude of it's just a cake. Cake is something which is not very important in, I think, India. As it's super important in America. It will be like in Western culture, actually, cake is, cake is the highlight of their party. The whole, their whole party revolves around the cake. Whereas in India, cake is just an add-on. Like just because it's a birthday and we have to cut a cake, that's why I just order a cake. So people had this thing about, oh, it's just a cake. Why would we pre-order? Why would we take a theme? Why would we, give any kind of thoughts in it? Why would we think about how we want the cake to be? So that whole concept I really had to fight with and be like, cake is very important. It is the center of attraction on your table. So you have to have a good cake on the table. Again, bargaining, like I said, theme cakes and whatever cakes I was making were 100, 200 rupees extra compared to the regular cake's price. Because I was putting in that effort on the cake, that extra effort that went in decorating the cake or maintaining the quality. I was putting in that effort. So I had to price it at a higher price than a regular cake. So people would bargain. And if I would fall for their bargaining, I will not make income or any profit, which would, of course, like whatever you do, you're running a business. Any business that you're running, you are running it for the profit. Profit is the ultimate motive of any business. And if you don't get profit, you are going to get demotivated and you are not going to put in effort. So somewhere that monetary motivation is also needed. So that is why bargaining was a big challenge. Everybody would come and bargain and I would have to keep saying, no, this is the price. People would walk away. But then I was patient and I was consistent and I kept waiting for people to come back. Advance payment. Another thing was people will, because Nagar is a small town, I know everybody here. people know me, I know them, we have personal relations with everybody here. So it was very difficult for me to, out of relations that I used to share with them, it was very difficult for me to ask them for the payment in advance. But over time, I learned that you have to take an advance payment because they might, you're thinking it's a good relation, I cannot ask, but some people, not everybody, but some people can take advantage of that relation and, just call you with the cake was supposed to go at 5, you're ready, and 3 o'clock they call you and be like, oh, sorry, our party got cancelled, please give the cake to somebody else. So you cannot take that loss on yourself. That is why the advance payment part of any business is very, very necessary. That's what I tell all my friends also, whoever have their businesses, please take advances. You cannot take any customized order without an advance payment ever. That's a very important thing in any kind of business. Expectations, because I had, our family restaurant is the number 1 restaurant here in the last 33 years. So automatically when they saw that, okay, the daughter is now into bakery business, it has to be number 1. When the person would talk to me, his or her expectation would already be here. They will be like, this cake, because we are ordering it from Sweet Home, it has to be a good cake. There is no room for mistake. There's no room for anything else, which is a good thing because, of course, there should not be any room for mistake whenever you're running a business. You have to perform at your best level and you have to put your best product out there, best quality product out there. The marketing strategies. Now let's get to the main point of today's discussion. The marketing strategies that I used in a place like Nagar, which is like a small town. So there are a lot of friend circles over here, like how you have a group. So Nagar has a lot of groups. So I decided to target one person of these groups. And every group has a favorite. That's what I've noticed. Every group has a favorite. So you figure out who the favorite is. I figured out who the favorite is and I targeted that favorite person. I sent over a cake for their birthday. And just because the favorite person was cutting a cake from Sweet Home Bakery, the others followed. So it can be one favorite person, it can be 2 favorite people, but that was a very good strategy that I used. The entire friend circle started ordering cakes from me just because that 1 or 2 favorite people were talking about my cake or eating my cake or cutting my cake in front of them. Display counter. I started a small display counter in our restaurant. So our restaurant already had a footfall, for example, say 500,000 people are anyway coming in. So I decided instead of going out and opening a store, an individual store somewhere where I have to sit and wait for people to enter, I would rather put up a small display counter where people are anyway coming, which is our family business of restaurants. So I put up a small outlet there, I put a small display counter and I placed all these cupcakes and cakes in that display counter and I stood there and I started talking to people. I started making my own relations with them and I started giving them these products and introducing them to these products. Banners and standees. I also put up a lot of banners and standees. And we have 3 to 4 restaurants now in Ahmedabad itself. So I put up a lot of banners and standees everywhere with nice. And these pictures are all made by me. One thing that I follow is that we should not copy pictures from the internet. Make your own product, photograph it however you can, but use your own product's picture. Never, just because there are 30 really nice pictures of cupcakes on the internet doesn't mean I just use them and show them as my own. So this picture also of the cupcakes that you can see right now are one of the very first batches that I had made. So that's why all these banners and standees had these pictures, my own pictures, where people could see that these are the real cupcakes that are there in the same display counter. Small cards and tables. So our restaurant has about 50 to 60 tables again. So I put these small 10 cards they're called 10 cards. I put these on each and every table. So even when people were nicely just having lunch, somebody must have missed the display counter, they could not miss this card that was kept on the table. So wherever you can show off your brand, put your brand name out there, you must. Wherever people can see, like for example, my brand name is Sweet Home Bakery. So I have put it here on this watermark on the picture that you all can see. So you have to keep putting your brand name out there. You have to plaster this brand name on people's minds. That is when people are going to be like, when they actually see the counter, they'll be like, हाँ ये कहीं पे पहले देखा था. So that is another very good strategy that you keep on showing your brand to people. Your brand presence is very important. Facebook that time, now I think people have reduced the usage of Facebook, but that time Facebook was today's Instagram, you can say, or today's Snapchat or Twitter. But that time Facebook, when I started 7 years ago, Facebook was really famous and people would use it. So I started posting a lot of photos on Facebook. Whenever I would do a small thing also, I would post the picture on Facebook. I made a bakery page on Facebook as well. So I would post it there as well as my personal profile, because I realized that somehow it just is like that. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I have noticed that people pay a lot of attention to a girl's profile. So I started posting it on my private profile as well. And if, suppose I'm making the cake for, alphabet A, so I would tag them on the cake's picture. so that their friends can also see it. So it's not just my 500 friends, it is their 500 friends also that can see the picture of my cake. And all of these pictures again would be watermarked with my bakery logo. So I am showing my brand name there as well. So they can see this cake is from Sweet Home Bakery because my logo is out there. Because you cannot always expect clients to tell people. Some clients will just be like, we got it from somewhere. They're always not going to be like, we got from Sweet Home only. So you have to put your brand name, you have to put your logo out there. Another option was Instagram. Instagram, again, I have a bakery profile. I made the bakery profile very recently on Instagram, but otherwise I was using my private profile itself to first, market these products of mine. Instagram stories, Instagram posts, Instagram DMs, anything that you can put your hands on. WhatsApp, I had made broadcast lists of all the contacts that I had, and whatever new was coming up, I would broadcast it to them, so it goes directly into their personal chat from me, or whatever, like offers or anything new that I'm coming up with, so that they are always updated personally from me. So they would think I'm personally messaging them. And of course, I would not pester them every day, like 10 times a day with this product, this product. I would time it very nicely so that they also don't get disturbed. I would maybe send them a broadcast once in a month so that they don't block me. Otherwise, if you start sending out broadcasts every single day, we also block people. They are going to block me also if I start disturbing them 10 times in a day or every day. So we have to think of the clients as well. We have to think about their comfort as well. Free samples. I started giving out a lot of free samples also because, like I said, people did not know what a cupcake is, so they did not want to buy a cupcake. And that's why I started, if there are 4 people sitting on a table having dinner, I sent 4 cupcakes, miniature cupcakes, tiny ones, on their table. So when they tasted it, maybe at least 1 out of those 10 tables will stop at the display counter and pick up a few and take it home. Exhibitions in the restaurants. Later, I think 2 years into the business, I got an idea of having an exhibition. And then I thought that maybe, people will not come only for my bakery products, but these people can come if there are kurtas, if there are shoes, if there are knickknacks, there are different things. So maybe, somebody will come to buy a kurta, pick up a box of cupcakes and go, or pick up a box of cookies and go. But they are a wonderful first exhibition, which led to an entire business in its own. Then I started organizing exhibitions as well on the side, which was a win-win for me because my brand was also getting showcased, as well as the others' brand was also getting showcased. Plus, I was the organizer of the exhibition, so that was another business that I was into, another brand that I built for the exhibitions that time. E-marketing, like I said, I use Facebook, I use Instagram, I use WhatsApp. So what is the biggest advantage of these outlets? There are so many people who would say, print out pamphlets, put it in the newspapers every morning, or put an ad in the newspaper, which is a physical advertisement and super duper expensive. So what is the best part about e-marketing? Best way to reach a large number of buyers. Instagram is the entire world on that one app. All you have to do is put the right amount of hashtags and you reach anybody and everybody everywhere. Whereas a newspaper, till the person doesn't open it, it doesn't reach their house and that pamphlet flies out of it, which they will use to maybe eat chana later and not even read it. So, it's a waste of paper, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of everything. So I feel the best way to reach a large number of buyers today is e-marketing, is Instagram, because everybody is on their phone. Like even if, maybe if we're taking a 5-minute break here, I'm sure everybody is going to start looking into our phones. Somebody will open Instagram, somebody will open Facebook, somebody will open WhatsApp. So that is why e-marketing is one of the best ways to reach a very large number of client base. Wide scope, again, the same thing like I just covered. Constant reminder of the products you offer. Like I said, I would keep messaging about something or the other every week or once a month, every time. So if somebody has forgotten I own a bakery, maybe they'll see a message from me and remember and be like, oh, maybe I can eat a cake tomorrow, or my son's birthday is coming up tomorrow and maybe I should order it from Surbi. So it's a constant reminder, people will not forget you. Low cost. Of course, there's hardly any cost until and unless you actually go on paid promotions. You don't have to pay a single penny to advertise your product on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp. Interactive. People can DM me directly and they know that they are talking to the person who's baking the cake herself instead of, maybe a customer care executive or somebody. They know that they are talking to me directly, and that is why it's a very interactive platform where you can talk to your customer, understand what they need, have a personal relationship with them, and show them what you're made of, show them what your brand is made of, show them what you offer. Maybe the customer wants, for example, in my business, maybe if they wanted only cupcakes, I can sell them an extra cookie along with it. or a brownie along with it. They have come to just order a cake for their son's birthday. I gave them an entire dessert table just by the way I'm talking, just by the way I've made, like a personal touch with them. Just, like I've gotten them to trust me. So, you have to, it's a sales technique as well when you're talking to your customers directly. Of course, if you have a lot of customers, you cannot talk to everyone directly, but whoever you can, I think you should have a personal touch. You should have a personal relationship with your customers. Like I said, I started having exhibitions in the restaurant, and the advantage that I found from these exhibitions was that it's a best market for creative products. There are so many ladies who would contact me because they wanted to showcase their creativity. There were so many ladies who were making something or the other home, and they would contact me. So these were mostly for the ladies, and we were kind of into women empowerment that time, and that's why we would give a lot of we would focus a lot on having ladies show their creativity there. And it's the best market for creative products because you will not find these kind of products in any shops or outlets or anything, the kind of products that you find in exhibitions. It's like renting a shop for a day. So instead of renting a shop, like a proper shop and having a lease agreement or any rental agreement for 11 months minimum that you have to do, an exhibition is literally like renting a shop for a day. So now my business was, that time when I didn't have the display counter, it used to be about ordering only. There were so many products that people would get only on order, and there was a minimum quantity of everything. So when I would rent this shop, when I would have this stall in an exhibition for a day, I would have these products on display. So instead of buying 6 cookies, minimum order of 6 cookies, they can buy 1 cookie at the exhibition, and they get to try a little bit of anything and everything. That is why exhibitions are a very nice way to focus and to showcase your product for a day. And personal interaction with buyers. You meet all your buyers face to face. That is when, like, so many people would come and be like, oh my god, you are the face behind the cakes, you are the face, because they will not know who I am. I don't even have my personal picture on my WhatsApp, so they did not know how I looked also. So they would come and they would meet me and they would get so happy. Their kids would get so happy, like, oh, this lady made a cake. So, it used to be a very nice bonding time with the clients as well. One of the best ways to advertise your brand. Maybe somebody came to this exhibition not because of my invitation, but because of a lady who was selling, say, shoes at the exhibition. But at the same time, they came across my stall and they saw the products I'm offering and they got to know about it. So it is one of the best ways to advertise your brand because there are so many people coming together. All of these people are inviting their clients, which you can take advantage of. Somebody else is taking advantage of your invitees. You can take advantage of somebody else's invitees. Fun and learning experience. Exhibitions, according to me, are a lot of fun because you're standing there, you're selling your products, you're meeting so many other business holders. You get to talk to them, you get to share your experiences, you get to know their experiences, and you get to learn so many things from this. And even with clients, you get to talk to them directly, you get to see what they want, what they would love in the product. You can make new products according to their needs. And future orders. So what I realized from these exhibitions is a lot of people, because I was handing out my visiting cards, I was meeting these people personally. In every exhibition, I would hand out 500 visiting cards. So they would call me back for the cakes. They would call me back for ordering anything, not just for cakes, for cookies, for cakesicles, for anything. They would call me back, and that is why an exhibition. So I'm not saying every exhibition is going to be a hit. Some of them are going to be flops. But it's now because of COVID, things have changed, exhibitions have reduced. But before COVID, almost every month there used to be a big flea market or an exhibition or something. So if you have a creative product, you should go participate in any exhibition possible. Of course, you should do your research if the exhibition is good enough, if the footfall is going to be good enough. But you should rent that shop for a day and focus your products where people can physically come and physically touch your products and see what you are offering. Pricing strategy. Now, how to price your products. So what I did in my business, what I understood is, first, of course, for any product, your raw material cost is the utmost important thing that you need to calculate. Second, very important thing that people miss out on in creative products, in creative industry, is the time that you have spent on making that product. So maybe a product's raw material cost is 10 rupees, which used to happen in our paper quilling business. Paper is cheap. Our paper raw material cost used to hardly be 10-20 rupees in making that product. But we would spend 5 hours of our day in making that product. That doesn't mean I charge it at 50, right? 5 hours ka mehnat I cannot charge 50 rupees for. That is not at all going to be profitable for me, for my time, for anything. So that's why you should really consider the amount of time that you are putting in, the amount of effort that you are putting in, the packaging cost, maybe you're putting your product in a box or whatever, that cost also matters. Transport, if I am delivering the product, if even when I am going to buy the raw material. I am going in my vehicle, I'm sending somebody, or something is happening, all kinds of transport, right from buying the raw material to delivering the product. Every transport cost is what you're supposed to, charge for. Rent, in case of exhibitions, there's a table rent that you have to charge for that as well. You have to, all your products have to absorb the cost of the rent. Uniqueness of the product. If a product is very unique, if it is a very new idea and it's a complete hit idea, you can charge a premium for that. Never shy away from charging a premium. If you know your product is the best quality, if you know your product, in my case, tastes the best, if you know it is unique, you should not shy away from charging a premium for that product. Quantity ordered. If it is less quantity, if I'm getting an order for 6 cookies versus an order of 100 cookies, that also needs to be considered. Of course, bulk quantity is going to be costing lesser compared to 6 cookies, because in the end I'm putting 6 cookies in the oven for the same time, or I'm putting 100 cookies in the oven for the same time. My electricity cost also changes. Now the same electricity is being absorbed by 100 cookies instead of being absorbed by 6 cookies. So you need to consider that. Lastly, the profit margin that you have set for yourself for your product, you have to add that. That's why this whole thing, where your raw material cost, time required, effort that you're putting in, your packaging cost, your transport, rent, uniqueness of the product, quality ordered, profit, everything together will give you the pricing of your product. Even small things like tomorrow, if I'm washing the utensil, I need soap to wash the utensil, I need water to wash the utensil. Even something small as minuscule as that should be counted in the pricing, in the costing of your product. You should, even the butter paper that I use, maybe that one butter paper charges 20 paisa, but that also matters in the costing of your product. You should always consider the smallest to the biggest things while costing your product. So here are a few pictures for just some visual treat for you guys. So these are miniature cupcakes. There are theme cupcakes. These cupcakes are made for a baby shower ones. There are roses on the same cupcakes. So these are any kind of creativity. The first set of cupcakes I had made for Independence Day. So any kind of creativity that I can put, I keep changing the top icing of the cupcakes because people get bored. If I keep repeating the same thing, people are going to get bored. So how your product looks is the first impression. That is what is going to attract your customer. How your packaging is, how tidy and how clean and how finished your product is. That is what is going to be the main factor of attraction and marketing for your product. Another set of theme cupcakes, one for graduation. This one is an under the ocean themed party that was there. Another was, for Valentine's Day, so we put a small heart and a bow and everything. Another is a mix of chocolate and vanilla for those who can't decide, what they want to eat. Can we move on to the next slide? Theme cakes. So when I talk about theme cakes, like I said, a Cinderella theme party or a cricket theme party or a Big Boss fan. So whatever I could offer on a cake, whatever I could put on a cake, I would give it to them. So this Cinderella cake had a carriage, it had her clock, it had the small shoe that she had left behind. So small, tiny details is what is going to make your product. Even the cricket themed cake has stumps, has balls, has all these things on the cupcakes on the side. It has a player who's lying flat on the ground, completely tired. So these small things is what matters a lot. Whatever tiny details, that is what is going to keep you apart from the competition. That is what is going to stand you out from the competition. Another set of theme cakes. I think Cinderella is super famous with me. I'm just realizing that now. Another Cinderella cake over there. And there's a roulette cake. This one's for a gambling fan. Side views. One for Christmas. This was a 3D Kinder Joy cake with an actual Kinder Joy stuffed inside it. A vintage themed party with cakes and cupcakes. A James Bond themed party with a tuxedo. Next slide, please. Art and bakery. Now, like I was introduced as, I started my first business with my friends called the Quillers. We were into paper quilling. So whatever you do, I had to shut down that business because I came back to Nagar. So it wasn't a setback because whatever you do, that experience is going to help you in the future somewhere or the other. It's never any kind of learning, any kind of experience, it will never go to waste. It will help you somewhere or the other. So the same thing happened with me. Whatever I learned during my quilling days, I could incorporate that into my cakes. Like I put a small bunting, like a paper bunting that I used to do for quilling. I put that on the cake. It gave a very cute look to the cake. I put a small crown. I made this tray. These trays we used to make in our quilling days. And this one person wanted to gift, wanted cupcakes to gift. So I actually made the tray also myself and I gave it to them. Next slide, please. This is a winter theme party with snowflakes and Christmas theme and a snowman and everything. So it's not just the cake. What I started offering people was an entire dessert table. So whatever I can do to increase sales, whatever I can do to increase sale of more products. So instead of just a cake, I told them maybe take a cake and have a few cupcakes and everything lying around, which kids can just come and pick up and eat. So that is when they had ordered these small things, and then I was like, I'll make them all in a similar theme, which added another feather to the whole order. So they got really excited and they were like, yeah, sure, we can do an entire dessert table out of this. And that's what helped me sell more products to them. This was a Paris theme party, again, where we offered cupcakes. We had an Eiffel Tower shaped cake, and coincidentally, the girl's name was Anushka, which started with A. So the cake also stood for the alphabet A. So whatever you can offer to the clients, however creative you make your idea sound, they're going to be happier. So make sure that you're very creative when it comes to selling your product. A cricket theme again, where we have green cupcakes, we have a green cake, we have small little stumps and balls and everything on the cupcakes. Next slide, please. Here, this was a new one where this birthday girl came and she's like, I want the cake. This little birthday girl comes to me and she's like, I want the cake to look like my dress that I'm going to wear for my birthday. And that was her wearing her dress on her birthday, and that's the cake that I made for her. So whatever you can do to make your clients happy, because clients are of course the king, and whatever weird requirements that they come with, you have to cater to them however you can. Maybe some of them are too bizarre that cannot be done. That time you have to say, oh, I'm sorry, it's not possible. Entering the Pune market. So now again, Nagar and Pune are very close. Nagar has a limited clientele because it is a small market, it's a small city. So I had to expand and I had to enter the Pune market as well. Now if I have to go to Pune and I have to open a store in Pune, or I have to start marketing sitting in Nagar, it's going to be very difficult for me and it's going to be very time consuming and expensive. So that is where, again, like I said, exhibitions come in very handy, because you can go there, you can rent a shop for a day, you have to pay a rent of whatever the rent is, and you can meet an entire new set of clientele in that exhibition. So this was at Zapalooza, which happened in Goregaon Park, Pune, where I had taken a stall. And after this, you won't believe, I actually met somebody from a corporate company and I got a corporate order for 300 hampers from their company for a Christmas event. So anything can click anywhere. You cannot always go with the expectation that this is going to work for me, but when it clicks for you, anything can click anywhere. Christmas Bazaar is another exhibition where I actually met Mariam ma'am for the first time. It's another exhibition that happens in Pune again. So yeah, one of the reasons why I'm talking here today is because I met Mariam ma'am at an exhibition and that's where she found my brand. So like I said, you have to be out there, you have to be present all the time. You cannot be hiding in some corner of some city and expect people to come to you. You have to go to your clients. You have to put your brand out there. Corporate, this is the Christmas hamper that I'm talking about, the 300 Christmas hamper order that we got from that exhibition. So it had cupcakes, it had chocolates, it had brownies and cookies. And we packed it like that, and I had gone myself to deliver it to the company in Pune. Another few hampers for corporate orders that we did. This was another very creative idea that one day, came to my mind, that we can do these kind of hampers for companies instead of just making cakes and cupcakes and cookies. We can have like everything in one hamper for Diwali and have a little bit of firecrackers or like a small diya over there, and it'll be a nice gift. So that idea also really took off. And all the packaging is also done by us. Me, my bhabhi, my mom, we all are big time into packaging, so we keep coming up with these new different kind of packaging ideas that we can to make the products look as creative as possible. Like these small cookies are packed in these little jars with small birds on top. So something different, something out of the box that looks classy. People will really like to gift it to somebody, and that is why people will come back to you, because now it has my personal touch. So people actually come to me, my clients actually come to me and tell me that they don't even have to look at my cake board to see the cake is made by me. They see the cake and they know it's my style. They know, it's made by me. Because I have kind of embedded that style on people's mind, that if the cake looks like this, it is by Sweet Home. So you have to give your personal touch. You have to give your personal style in your work. That is what will help you stand out from the competition. Next slide, please. So I was also because I was, I was in Nagar in a small town, and people were really getting to know about me, getting to know about the new things that I was doing in Nagar. I was called for an interview on the local radio here, which was 90.4 FM that time, and a similar, seminar that I'm doing here today, I did on the radio that time, where the RJ actually asked me about similar things, right, from my family history and everything. And a lot of people who heard me on the interview that time got to know again of my brand and my business and what I'm doing and how it came about. Newspaper, there was an article in the newspaper also about the same theme. Or college website, my college that time I did my MBA from Nagar while I was handling my business on the side. That's why I decided not to leave Nagar, and I decided to sign up for an MBA here at Nagar College, Nagar College. So that is when my college website had approached, and they said, "Can you write a small article on this, business, on this hobby that you converted into a business?" And that's when that article is still there on the college website. And I wrote a small article which motivated a lot of people to convert their hobbies into their respective businesses. So that also is a very good marketing tool because, like I said, radio, a lot of people are listening to. Newspaper, a lot of people are reading. Now this was a news. I did not put a physical advertisement, so this was free of cost again for me. So me being a Marwadi, I look at whatever the minimal cost possible. And college website again was free of cost. So a lot of students got to know about my work from the college website. So again, I come back to the fact that I was present. I'm present on the website, I'm present on this platform, I'm present on that platform, and I'm completely present everywhere possible. So your brand needs to be present. Your brand needs to be shown off to people. Otherwise, people are going to forget you. There are 10 bakeries opening every day. People will forget me in the glimpse of an eye. I have to make sure that I'm present there. And I keep constantly reminding them that I'm here and I'm still working and I'm doing something or the other creative and new every single day. Creative ideas. Like I said, your product can be very good. It can be, it has to be creative. It has to, and another big thing today is change. People are constantly changing, and that is why they're expecting your product also to constantly change. No matter how much consistency or whatever you look at, I want to sell the same cupcake for the next 10 years, it's not going to work. People are going to expect the chocolate cupcake to at least look a little different, feel a little different, of course for the better, not for the worse. But that constant change is what I think clients today require. Something new. Every time they ask me, every time they order a cake with me, they'll ask me, which is the new flavor? Oh no, we tried all the old flavors. What's the new thing? What's the next thing? Everybody wants the newest thing possible. People are constantly asking for change. So I started coming up with a lot of ideas. So a few ideas that I come up with that time was send a picture of a cake that you like on WhatsApp. So whatever cake you like on the internet, you can send it to me, and I'll make a replica of that and give it to you. Then send your pictures and make a photo collage cake. So sorry, I missed that little question there. But send your pictures and make a photo collage cake. So you can send, like you can see, there's a picture of the photo collage cake there. So everybody was doing those edible printed cakes. What I started was paper printed pictures that I can put on your cake, which you can save for later, instead of cutting and eating them yourself. So you can have 10 pictures, 30 pictures, how many ever pictures you like, and the cake looks a little creative. Exhibitions, I started my own exhibitions, like I said, and dry cakes. So another thing that people keep saying is, "Humko cream nahi khana hai." So I came up with an entire range of dry cakes, which people loved because there were so many flavors that you can play around with. Dry cakes are cakes which are like something like pound cakes, which you eat at Kani, but a little more creative. So you have your other different flavors. You have no cream, zero cream, absolutely. So for all those who hate those, हमको cream के cake नहीं खाने, हमको गीले cake नहीं खाने, for them these cakes are perfect. Healthy and sugarless cakes and cookies. Now today everybody is into health, everybody is into exercising. Everybody's like, oh, we don't want to eat a cake because हमारा diet चल रहा है. So I was like, how can I cater to that side of clientele as well? Because otherwise I was losing out. There were so many people who would order cake 4 times in a month, who had then come down to once in a month just because they were on a diet. So then I came up with the healthy and sugarless cakes and cookies line. Now we started making granola bars also for the same. And I actually ask people what they're allowed to eat and what they're not, and I try to customize the cake and cookies according to their requirements. So they're also happy. My business is intact; it's not going down, and I can retain the clients as well. So that's another thing that has come in nowadays is health. So anything that you can do around health, you should do because I feel it's a game changer. Cupcake cake. Another thing was that you put cupcakes together and you make different shapes. Like you can make a heart shape by putting cupcakes together where people don't have to cut the cake. They can just grab the cupcake and eat. That was another creative idea that I thought of. Next slide, please. So, something, instead of giving flowers, people can actually gift this to people instead of giving flowers. So it was a very new and creative idea. 3D cakes, again, if somebody, all the shisha smokers here, I'm sure there are a lot of them. So if any of your friend is really into smoking shisha, so here's a cake that looked exactly, it had the height and everything of an actual shisha. Then for people who love minions, there was an actual size, a life-size minion on that cake board. I don't know if you can make it out from the picture, but it was a proper life-size minion. Kinder Joy, like I said, we actually made a cake of the size of a Kinder Joy, that it looks like you're cutting into a big Kinder Joy with actual Kinder Joys coming out of the cake from inside. Seasonal cakes, of course, fresh, everything fresh always. So fresh strawberry with cream, fresh mangoes, whatever, how much ever fresh the cake looks, people are going to be more attracted to it. People are always more attracted to fresh stuff instead of having maybe a strawberry puree on the cake or strawberry crush on the cake. Fresh strawberries will always make an impact. So always make sure whatever seasons are coming, you take advantage of whatever is around you, whatever you can do with the things that are around you, the time of that you're in, the season that you're in. If you can incorporate that into your product somehow, it will be really, really good for your products. This is a cake mix, so everybody kept coming to me and being like, oh, we want to make a cake at home, can you teach us? I knew the moment I teach them how to make a cake at Nagar, my business is done right there. So I was like, I cannot teach you, but what I can do is I can give you a cake mix, which you can make at home in a microwave. And that's when I made a small cake mix jar. I had these measuring spoons attached to it. I had the recipe also attached to it. And the kids could make cake at home. And that was another way of retaining my clientele and retaining my business, because the cake mix also people are buying from me, right? So if they're not buying a cake from me, at least they're buying the cake mix from me. So they're buying something from me. That was the whole point of the cake mix situation. Cake jars, again. This was really in a few years ago, where people would just grab a jar and start eating dessert out of the jar because they were really bored of pastries and cakes. So they wanted like a something personal to themselves, and that's when these cake jars had come in. This is how our exhibition looks. The exhibitions that I put up in the restaurant on our terrace, this is how it looks. It's a completely open exhibition. I don't believe in having those stalls with walls, because it really breaks the view and people cannot come together. It's like everybody's confined in their own space. That's why I've never had a exhibition. I've always had an open exhibition where one person can stand and see the entire exhibition just by turning around. There's nothing blocking it. There's nothing. Somebody can stand at my table and still look at their stall somewhere else, or their friend. They can say hi, who's come, who's not come. And that's why it was like a very, it used to be, it's like a party in itself, it's like an event in itself where people are coming together, hanging out, buying, eating down in the restaurant. So these exhibitions helped our restaurant business also, because people would come, eat, and then go down. And then they would eat at the restaurant as well. So it not just helped me, but it helped the restaurant business as well. Oh, sorry, I think we're running out of time. So here's the aim behind the exhibition. Can I go on, or should we move to the question and answer session?
How much of your presentation is remaining?
So there's about 5-6 minutes.
No, I think you wrap up then, so that we can have some more questions. More
Well,
interaction.
we can actually start. The presentation can be all on the slide. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So we can move on to question and answer. Is it okay?
Yeah, we will be sharing. We are aware of the time. Thank you for reminding us, and we will share the feedback link in a moment in the chat box. Okay, so any questions for Surbhi, please go ahead and ask meanwhile. And yeah, the team will share in another 4-5 minutes, share the feedback. Yeah, so do you have backhand marketing? Can you see
No, I can see.
End marketing, right? You mean back end, Vinita, not backhand marketing, right? Back end marketing,
Yes.
team, or you will do it by yourself?
Right now, I'm doing it by myself because, yes. So right now, I'm doing it by myself because I am still working from home. My entire setup is still at home, and I have the time to do it myself. So I post personally on Instagram. I put up stories. I take pictures. I do everything on my own. So right now, right from the maid to the CEO and all to the marketing team, sales team. But I think if I start, like expanding and I make branches in the future, I will surely have a back-end marketing. Next thing, how do you deal with expansion when we are busy ongoing work like delivery and making of products. So right now, what I have thought of is, oh, sorry, ma'am, did you say something?
No, I didn't say it.
Okay. So right now, what I thought of opening a store in Nagar. That was my next expansion plan, where I was going to make a proper bakery and a store in Nagar. But when I did the feasibility reporting of the same, I realized that how much I'm making from home is the same amount that I'm going to make from a store with an extra baggage on my shoulders of the overheads and everything. That's why I've stuck to working from home right now. But if I surely do plan to expand in the future, it is going to be in Pune or a different city altogether, and that's when I will not. I will focus on creating products, and I will get a proper team to work on those plans. Because everything you cannot do by yourself, you will end up making a big khichdi out of it. So sometimes it's better to have professionals handle what they are good at, and you should focus on. I have built all the products. I've got all the recipes. I've done everything myself, so I'm focused on the manufacturing side of the business. When we overtake our family business, what are the difficulties or challenges? So I haven't overtaken my family business. In fact, I just made a small branch of, which is a part of the same, so like a sister concern of the same business, you can call it. So the family business, and it is in its place itself. It's just a small little side business that I started in the same space. So there's the question that you asked. Actually, there's not really any difficulties or challenges that I face there because my business is completely separate. It's just in the same space. Are there any other questions? How was your journey when handling the sole business by yourself? Oh, it was a fun journey. It is so much fun. You get to learn so much. Every day you are being creative. Every day you are making something new. You are talking to new people, and it keeps you going. It's an adrenaline rush in itself, and you're so active all the time. It gives you that kick and it gives you that drive that is needed. That's why I'm like a big fan of having your own business and working on it hands-on, because that keeps you really alert. It keeps you active. It keeps you creative. How do you deal with expiry of products? So yeah, this is a good question actually. So you have to judge your clientele, your footfall. So these are perishable products that I'm making. Cupcakes go bad in about 6-7 days. So imagine if I make 100 cupcakes today. Of course, I know they are not going to be sold in the next 4 days. So it's a very bad decision to make 100 cupcakes. Your stock turnover has to be 4 days. My stock turnover has to be 4 days. So what I do is I had in the beginning, in the first 1 month, I judged how many cupcakes are are sold maybe in a week or in 2 to 3 days. You can judge that way depending on your product and make accordingly. So I don't make more than 24 cupcakes in a batch of every flavor, because I know that's how much sells in the in the next 2-3 days. So I keep that much, and then immediately I put up a fresh batch of cupcakes, because I want people to come back instead of having a stale cupcake and having a bad experience and putting a negative review. I make sure that I'm very alert about all the products being fresh.
Surbhi, sorry to interrupt. Just want to tell the participants that the feedback form link has been posted in the chat box. You all can start filling the form. Meanwhile, Surbhi will be still taking questions. Thanks, Surbhi. Sorry.
No problem. So how will I manage delivery while expansion? So there are so many third-party delivery apps and third-party delivery vans and everything that have started in this business now. That, like I said, let the professionals handle that side of the business. So instead of getting a van myself and getting delivery people myself, I think I will actually depend on these other parties who are solely into delivery to take care of that for me. So there are so many people in Pune now who actually hire an Uber, and they would send their cakes in the Uber with the driver, which is a very cost-effective thing in a big place like Pune. So something like that. And recently, just yesterday, I saw this ad in Hyderabad. There's this big bakery air-conditioned van that has started solely for bakers who can rent out that van and deliver their product. How to add labor cost to the pricing, you mean? So you have to calculate your entire salary, right from your helper to your watchman to whoever you have to give salary to, and you have to divide it according to the quantity and the number of products and everything. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think that's all. One more. How do you manage to be innovative? How do you manage to be innovative?
That is the biggest hard work, which you have to put it in yourself. It's a whole personality development thing. So you have to work hard towards it. You have to keep your mind alert. You have to keep going online. Sometimes it's not that just because I have achieved a lot in my business, I cannot do somebody else's class. You cannot have that kind of attitude also. Maybe tomorrow somebody is taking a class for something that I don't know. Maybe I'll attend that class and add a new product to my business, which I think will work here. So you have to keep learning, no matter what. Never stop learning, and never feel like, oh, I've achieved it all, because nobody's achieved it all. You're always learning. Every single day, I'm also learning new things, and that's how you manage to be innovative. That's how you come up with new ideas. You keep your eyes open. That's how you come up with new ideas. Eyes and ears open.
Yeah, thanks. That's the last question we can take. The time permits. Aryan, over to you.
So thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful talk. We got to learn a lot of things. So first of all, I would request everyone to turn on your camera so we can capture the glimpse of this session. So everyone, please turn on your cameras for a few seconds.
Everyone, please switch on your cameras.
Okay, so I think we are done with it. So before we end the event, I request Dr. Mariam Narona, Coordinator of Startup and Innovation Cell of college, to give the closing remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Aryan. So we've come to the end of this national level intercollegiate workshop. Our speakers have shared a number of practical ideas, insights, and experiences which I'm sure will benefit all attendees today. The Greek philosopher Plato has said that the beginning is the most important part of the work. And our speakers today have shared a lot of why and thinking about the customer. So taking a find customers for your product, find products for your customers. So thank you all once again for joining the workshop today, and over to the host for the closing of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Akshat to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Aryan. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights regarding marketing for startup founders. On behalf of Ness Wadia College of Commerce and the Startup and Innovation Cell, I wish to extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Shinde, Ms. Riya Sharma, and Ms. Surbhi Bhogawat for carving out time for this workshop. Your valuable insight and experiences will definitely prove to be helpful for all the workshop attendees. Big thanks to our coordinator, Dr. Mariam Narona, who has indeed been putting in efforts and striving to facilitate the growth of students by arranging such programs and contests. Hearty congratulations and thanks to all the students and faculties who all actively participated in this national level workshop to improve, improvise, and build their skills in the voyage of entrepreneurship. Last but not the least, I thank the entire team of students at the Startup and Innovation Cell who have worked tirelessly to put this event together. Alone, you can go quickly, but together we can go far. And this event is the result of teamwork. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Akshat. I hereby declare the session closed. I, Aryan Rondas, signing off on behalf of Startup and Innovation Cell, Ness Wadia College of Commerce. Stay tuned, wishing you all happy and safe Holi.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Please don't forget to fill up the feedback form. We posted it twice in the chat box. Do fill it up. Thanks. Thanks to all the teachers also who joined today. Quite a few teachers have joined today. Nazat ma'am, you stayed with us through and through. And I think others also. I'm sorry, I don't know you personally, but I know her. So, yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to all the teachers also.